Good afternoon and welcome to another segment of 360 Degrees to Success. I have with me today, I have two guests. I have Matt Radin, who is a JV man. Matt is an attorney as well as a mediator and ADR, alternative dispute resolution specialist. And I have Chris Chuddick, who I'll introduce in a little bit. But Matt, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
So, Managed Joint Venture, it's an amazing program. If you haven't heard about it, this is definitely the way to go, rather than joining networking groups or other things that don't pan out, that don't guarantee you anything. So, Matt, if you want to just kind of a brief intro, kind of what JV Man does.
Sure. Well, I manage joint ventures, and a joint venture, by definition, is when two or more people do something together. I was formerly board counsel to the Long Island Board of Realtors, and as a result of that, I was able to create a lot of joint ventures. I created a legal plan for realtors and a risk management system for realtors and a software company for managing litigation. It just went on, and I realized it was all about joint ventures. And then I realized that every listing is a joint venture, because in every listing you've got a listing agent, a listing broker, buying agent, a buyer's agent, buyer's broker. And when you take a look at some of the experience I had, there are so many people who are feeding at the trough of the real estate transaction. You know, lawyers in New York, and you have title companies and all the inspectors. And so it occurred to me that the realtors need a way of turning those referrals into money. So I created this managed joint venture where I actually manage the joint venture for the benefit of the client first, and then for the benefit of the referrer, so that when the person gives a referral, they're only helping the client to do a better job. Okay. And as a result, everybody wins.
Okay, but as you know, brokers and lawyers, they give a lot of referrals, but they don't receive many in return, right? They don't get paid for making referrals due to the laws of their industry. So, for example, lawyers can't share fees with non-attorneys. So how do you help brokers and lawyers get referrals and to where they're intended, to where they want to do that?
Well, brokers and lawyers are examples. Insurance agents are another example. There's a lot of examples of people who can't legally share their compensation, but what we can do is advertise, and what we can do is market, and what we can do is manage the referral process to get a better job for the client. Typically, the rules against sharing commissions or sharing real estate broker commissions are all about burdening the transaction. Making it less affordable to the client. We're actually making it more affordable. So what we're doing is we are charging a percentage of something. Maybe the compensation may be something less, maybe profit. But in any case, we want to make sure that we can fund that joint advertising budget. And what we do is we put together 5 people into a group we call a managed joint venture group, and those people figure out how we can make more money together doing a better job for the client.
So how does the MJV actually help brokers and lawyers get referrals through their own NMO or network management organization?
Well, when you hear NMO or network management organization, you can think MLS, multiple listing service, because that's what it's all based on. As a fellow dispute resolution specialist, which is you and a JV member, you know how important arbitration mediation is to me, to keep people out of court. Okay. Well, the realtors for over 50 years have been doing that. They have their own process for arbitration mediation, and I personally, as counsel to the Realtor Board, wrote decisions in over 500 of those cases. So I realized that when we approach this network management organization, we have to focus on keeping people out of court, streamlining transactions so they get a better result, and over time getting more and more data so we can help people get a better job. So when you think of NMO, think of MLS, which is a very similar process.
And we spoke about it a little bit earlier, and I advocated that people should choose MJV over traditional networking or online networking. And just to kind of feed into that, the reason being is, and I've been with Matt about a year now, right, maybe a little over a year, and I've gotten a lot of business, but basically it's for lack of a better term, it's a guarantee. I mean, it's actually getting business within your 5 people in your network. Or you go to networking groups and networking meetings and you're spending all this money, it's luck of the draw, right? There are some businesses that are easier to refer than others, but you're spinning your wheels. Everybody's getting up, giving that same 5-minute pitch that nobody's paying attention to, because all they're thinking about is what they're going to say. And this is an actual working system that you get direct business from, and give direct business to on a regular and continuous basis. For Matt's thing is never start again.
Right. Well, first of all, we have a guarantee. So I've never heard of any networking group. There are the BNIs, there are the TIPs, there are all these networking meetings. You show up at a meeting. We went to one recently, and you just show up and everybody gets up in their chair and says what they do. But for us, it's not about them. It's about the client. It's us working together better to do a job for the client. So like you'll be hearing from Chris Chuddick soon. Chris is another JV member. And here's what Chris is doing. Great example. Chris, for each group of 5, is helping them speak to 6,000 people a year. Okay, and then we're making sure that those 6,000 people are broken down by certain criteria, and so that at the end of the day, if 1 or 2% of those convert to sales, that's 60 to 120 people, at $1,000 a piece. Figure your average payment is $1,000. That's $100,000. For us, people are paying only $5,000, and we're guaranteeing them 10. So we're giving them a path from 10,000 to 100,000 to $1 million to $3 million together. It's not about getting a referral. It's about doing a better job for the client and managing the referral so the client gets a better result.
Absolutely. And do MJV members depend on social media or other technology in order to get this done?
Yeah, well, this is pretty much the segue to Chris, because Chris is running a lot of the technology. We've been using a really wonderful group of technologies. So, it's like Colonel Sanders, 11 Secret Herbs and Spices. There's nobody can protect salt or pepper, and I'm sure salt and pepper are in the 11 Secret Herbs and Spices, but it's the proportions and how he uses them. Well, similarly, Chris and I and a group of us have created our own secret sauce for how do you use LinkedIn, Facebook, a CRM system called Nimble, which he'll talk about, and how do we use these together. There's several other tools in there that we can talk to a certain number of people every day, spread our message, target people, target groups, like we're doing a lot with dentists and restaurant owners now, so target groups, and then deliver to those groups messages at certain times so that they'll want to get more information, and then turn them over to the JV member who wants to talk to that person in person, have a conversation, and see if there's a possible fit for them to make a sale.
Great. So joining us also via Skype is Chris Chuddick, and he's a managing member of Liberty Digital Market Solutions. And it's a joint venture with Liberty Group. Chris helps JV members use social media and collaborative systems to help groups of JV members get more leads. And Chris and I and Matt are working together. And so, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. And Chris, we just recently talked about social media and other technology. What social media platforms do MJV members use or users use?
Well, we primarily are using LinkedIn and Facebook. We use LinkedIn primarily to hit the B2B or business to business, and Facebook for B2C or business to client or business to customer. We find that these are the two largest, best to use, but we are not only limited to those two, but those are primarily what we use.
Okay. And do you use any special systems to help members convert leads into sales?
So like Matt was saying earlier, we obviously do. We have a group of systems and processes that we use. We consider them proprietary to Liberty. Obviously, we use LinkedIn to get those clients, but we use another one, Nimble CRM, as a CRM manager to help capture and manage those leads, as well as some other things mixed into the recipe there, so to speak.
And real quick before I continue with Chris, Matt, if somebody's interested in MJV and interested in Chris's services and your services, how could they get hold of you?
Always think about Liberty, because we're all about people's financial freedom. So it's Liberty, Never Start Again, which is our mission. We want to help you to build your network and build your business so you'll never have to start over again. So it's Matt, M-A-T-T, at libertyneverstartagain.com. And our website, too, is libertyneverstartagain.com.
Okay, and Chris, how do you coordinate referrals among MJV members? Because eventually, as we're building, there's so many of them, and like Matt said earlier, you're connecting each person with, average of 6,000 people. So, how do you coordinate referrals among members?
A couple of ways. Like Matt said, we start off with a group of 5 people, and they share that ideal client. That's kind of very important there. We get them their central LinkedIn page. They're all hooked into that, and they all have a little blurb about themselves on there. And then we take that page and we're able to produce and capture lead sources from it, as well as potential clients for all of those 5 members. And since they're the members are sharing in that same ideal client, they can share then in those leads generated with each other. And we also, since we take them from there, we use that Nimble CRM to track and produce and keep where those leads came from, who belongs to who and who got shared with whom as well.
Right, and as I know, working with you and working with Matt, there's a couple of systems in place, right? So there's LinkedIn is hooked up to Nimble, that's hooked up to, what's the third one? The Navigator, Sales Navigator, of which Chris is like an expert in all those, and who runs it, puts it together, and you see results almost immediately in regards to that. So, where does a member get business-to-business referrals, so that they have more brokers, lawyers, sending them more leads?
So what we have on this page is we have a network manager for the NMO. That manager is then going to be the face of the page that we create for the group of 5. And that person's going to ensure that each referral or potential client then also is shared amongst the group of members. They're going to be able to target and find out then, okay, this person would be good for these 2 or 3, or this person could hit all 5, or this person's good for the 3 or 4, and then make sure that that gets done in a correct order and a correct sales funnel so that the member or the potential client is not overwhelmed and gets everything that they need.
Just like Jeff is on one of those pages. So Jeff is the network manager for one of those pages. And as a result of that, even though you're not an attorney, you're a mediator. And we've now put you together with 3 other lawyers who could be sending you referrals just because you're managing the page.
Absolutely, right. So it's a matter of coordinating everything and having a central person do the right thing and get the business. It's a great system. It took me a while to wrap my head around it when I met Matt a little over a year ago, and but it works. I'm telling you, it works. So what do you do, Chris, to help MJV members get more leads for less money?
Okay, well, if you were to do something like this on your own, set up your own LinkedIn page, have your own Sales Navigator account, get your own CRM system, and then, take the time and effort and energy to learn and do all of that all by yourself, or have me do it for you, it's going to end up costing you more time, more money, more stress, and all of that goes with it. Is since we are able to share all of this, spread these costs out amongst the 5, and because they share the ideal client, it makes it much more palpable, easier, and obviously a lot more cost effective for each individual.
Okay, so just to step back a little bit, Matt had talked about to get into the managed joint venture program, it's $5,000 with a guarantee of $10,000, which nobody else offers. So if somebody were to try to do on their own what you do, as part of the managed joint venture with the LinkedIn and the Navigator and all that stuff, what would that cost them just in that alone?
For just by themselves?
Yeah, to try to do it
in
by
essence, just as a monthly on the top of my head, it would be between $1,600 and $1,800 a month, and that would be, or per quarter. I'm sorry, $1,600 to $1,800 per quarter. Whereas with a group of 5, they can get it done for about $900 per quarter.
No, that's not even including their time. That's just what it would cost them for the
just to have me run the service and do it for them. Yes, that has nothing to do if they wanted to go ahead and try to do this on their own.
Well, also don't forget the cost of the third-party software, because we're sharing the cost of the like the Navigator and other things 5 ways too, right? So
correct.
That's getting another $300 at least, isn't it? Was it $300 on top of that? Yeah, so you can see it's like more than double. You'd be paying way more than double if you try to do it yourself without the other 4. Plus, you wouldn't get referrals from anybody.
It's tough. Hey, look, I used about a couple of years ago. I tried using Infusionsoft as a CRM. That's almost as much as what you just said for all these 3, and that wasn't even the full package. And while it's effective and I see its use, you have to be like I say, a cockeyed wonder to figure that thing out. But there's so many different nuances to it. So unless you're really proficient at things like that and do it on your own, you can't. It's impossible.
Question for you: how many referrals do you get from Infusionsoft? How many referrals?
Next question.
0, right?
Right. It's not a referral thing. It's more of a follow-up, automatic emails. I mean, I sort of value something I wanted to try because what people usually forget about is that when you get busy, what if you forget that one follow-up email or one follow-up to a client that called you, but you forgot to call back? It kind of took care of that for you. So it's just a matter of, what's it worth for you to find something else to do that with.
Now, you see, if somebody referred a client to Chris, they'd be getting at least 10% of that. Okay, so not only would they, get like, $5,000 on 10 referrals, but they'd be getting probably another $5,000 again on referrals to him because he's part of the referral network.
So he's got that incentive.
And they got the incentive. Everybody's got the incentive.
Our other managed joint venture, Stephanie
O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Yeah.
She referred through Matt a elder mediation case to me about a month ago. So she referred to Matt. Matt referred to me. We had a conference call with the potential clients. The next week they were in my office.
Yep.
And there it goes. There you got 3 people who have an incentive to get this case started versus, hey, here's a number, call them, or, hey, I'll send you a referral sometime, or even send you bad referrals. Right?
And Stephanie's a great example because Stephanie and Chris work closely together. Chris, why don't you explain the process of how you and Stephanie work together to do the content and the target marketing?
Sure. Well, Stephanie primarily does a lot of the content for us and our team. I primarily manage the setups and then the running of the software. So where she and I come in is we're able to meet with these groups of 5 individually, find out what their message is, their primary target client, and ways to then combine that messaging together with the group of 5 so that we can, when we target the client, each of them can share in it. So she's been extremely valuable and able to do that. And it's something that we also, keep going at. If we're not seeing results right away, it's something we can keep retargeting and refocusing our energies until we get the right results.
Yeah, just so you know, Stephanie and I also co-authored a book on make more sales and get more referrals through group marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a whole system for doing that, and a coaching program actually that is available too. If people want to put a group of 5 together and get coached on how to get more referrals back and forth, we have that as well.
Right, and you talk about putting things together. Something else that we're working on as a project. Matt had hooked me up with Dr. Michael Joyner, who's in California and Florida. He's a hand surgeon who wrote a book, Forever My Daddy, a very severe case of parent alienation, to where his ex-wife, the mother of his 3 boys, alienated the 3 boys from him. So we're putting together a program to educate and let people know about parent alienation to try to prevent that from happening. And that's another project that's really moving along pretty well, and that came through Matt as well.
Yeah, and it's a perfect example of how the JVs are working. Dr. Joyner is a hand surgeon, and yes, he's very passionate about mediation and parental alienation, but he's also an inventor, and he created a cutlery, a flatware that they call touchless. Well, one of our JV members, Tracy, is an attorney who specializes in intellectual property and restaurants. So
Who also you hooked me up with as well.
Yeah,
Right.
you're going to do some work with her too. So Tracy already offered to introduce him to some restaurant owners to test his flatware.
Right.
So there's one guy, he's a doctor, but he wants to do mediation with you. He wants to do intellectual property with Tracy, and none of this could have happened if it wasn't for the managed joint venture.
Right, absolutely. And Matt, did you want to touch on we have a few minutes left, but did you want to touch on the idea with the dentist and the business, which is getting to be pretty huge?
Yeah, that's going to be really huge. We have created a financial freedom formula that if you want to be financially free, you need 3 things. You need your own business, your own real estate, your own bank. And we got a JV member who's the owner of a hedge fund, whose wife is a dentist. So I agreed with him that if he would start sending in dentists, I would figure out some new solutions that would be beneficial. Well, turns out one of our JV members is a business broker, Nick, who's been in the business for over 40 years. And he's agreed to franchise with us and to create a national network of business brokers. So now we have the ability to make 10% from buying and selling dental practices, which go for between $500,000 and $1 million. So it's a good day when you sell one of those for half. You get 10% of that, so you're getting a $50,000 or $100,000 commission, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a bad idea. So you have that, and he has currently 100 offices. So we already have a distribution system of 100 offices. So our goal is going to be adding 100, 200. In fact, if anybody watching this wants to be in the business brokerage business, or especially as a realtor who wants to make additional money just by picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, I know of a dentist who's looking to get out of the practice in the next 10, 15 years," you can make some really good money just making that phone call. We're also doing restaurants because the hedge fund is looking to invest in restaurants. Why? Because when you franchise a restaurant and then you go to sell it, you're going to sell for 10 to 20 times earnings, whereas a dental office may sell for 1 to 3. So if you want to have your own business that's going to have a good return on all the work you're doing, you're better off having a successful restaurant, a franchise restaurant, than you are having a dental office. So we have a business broker making money from helping the hedge fund buy dental offices and dental offices and restaurants. So now check out the financial freedom formula. You start off with a dentist who's $300,000 in debt. $270,000 on average. Your dentist getting out of dental schools, close to $300,000 in debt. So step one is we show him how to have his own bank, right? Remember, you have business, real estate, and bank. So we show him how to have his own bank using whole life insurance, but we've added the hedge fund, and we've added crowdfunding, we've added just about every way you can get money. It's his own bank. So now he's got his own bank. His bank now, when he loans him money, he's going to make 2% coming into his pocket rather than 6% going out, because he owes 6% of the student loans. He takes the 2%, puts it into the hedge fund. Hedge fund's looking to make 15%. That means that money is going to double every 5 or 6 years, okay? The hedge fund now agrees to take that money and invest it in a practice. So that practice now is going to be partly belonging to that dentist. So before, all he had was in 8 years, he may be lucky to get out of debt. Now on day one, he'll be owning his own practice. The practice is being vetted so that the practice owns real estate. And so he now has his own bank, his own practice in real estate, doing pretty much the same thing he would have been doing without us, except without us, he would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Absolutely.
And so our goal is to have at least 20 offices over the next year, and that means 20 times 500 is like $10 million, and to get up to about $100 million in hedge fund money in the next 3 to 5 years. So.
Absolutely. Another thing I remembered as we were talking and you brought up ideas, is we're working with another attorney and we're able to file LLCs for people or corporations and things like that. So the opportunity is literally endless. Not to sound cliche-ish, but Chris, do you have anything? And again, real quick, libertyneverstartagain.com if you want more information on a managed joint venture. Chris, anything you wanted to say in wrapping up?
No, just thanks for having us on. Thanks for letting me talk about and the service that we've created. Like I said, that ability to be able to take that group of people, get a concise message for the same ideal client, saves them a bunch of money, and gives them more leads with less time and less effort. It's really amazing, and I enjoy it. So thank you.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks for working with us with our managed joint venture. Anything you'd like to say closing?
Yeah, the main thing about these dentists is that dentists often don't have their own business, and we want to change that because we want people to do the things that they love to do. That's the key. It's passion. In fact, one of my sayings is you can always do what you love to do if you joint venture with enough other people who love to do what you hate to do and hate to do what you love to do. So if that dentist wants to be a dentist and he loves to be a dentist, he just got out of dental school, he's got $300,000 in debt. Well, step one is finding the people who want to run the dental practice, and that's called the DSO, Dental Services Organization. And so we're doing something really unique where we have the older dentist who wants to transition out and the younger dentist who wants to transition into the practice. So before, the younger dentist would wait for 8 or 10 years and wait till he had enough money, $500,000 or more, to buy into the practice. Now he can use the hedge fund money to buy into the practice. Maybe he'll only own 5%, but he'll have a transition path where he'll be able to buy into that practice over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Then he puts the money back into the hedge fund, buys a piece of the restaurant. Now that money's even doubling again. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to us, especially in the healthcare system, that if we can find ways to help healthcare providers be more positive, because a lot of healthcare professionals commit suicide, and it doesn't really do well for our health. If there's a way we can help them to be more passionate about what they do, love what they do, and use this managed joint venture to put them together with other people who will do the things that they hate to do, then everybody wins.
Absolutely.
And look, including the patient.
in a little over a year since I've been doing this show, in addition to plugging into the right people and being around the right people, I learned that successful people, who make a good living or make good money, have multiple sources of income, not just one. You can't rely on one thing. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And I just talked about 3 or 4 things that I'm doing with Matt, a source of income coming in other than my mediation practice. So again, this is just something that if you're interested in, go to libertyneverstartagain.com. Check it out. Chris, thanks for joining us
on
the show today. Matt, thank you very much. And I'll see everybody again next week on 360 Degrees to Success. Take care.